I'm Jamie Newman here at Artist Session Influencer Series in New York City at the beautiful Eva Scrivo Salons. I just stumbled upon the coolest thing with this team. So we're going to pan over to Derek Cash and Meg Stringham, and they're going to tell us a little bit about what they're doing right now. So Derek, tell me, I know you were kind of in charge of the color. Could you tell me a little bit how you color match the extensions and some tips for other people color matching?
Of course, yeah. So basically, what I did was I colored her all, and then we got our Great Lengths extensions. And what I did was I gave her a purple shampoo bath, like we showed before. So basically, it's dipping the hair into the purple shampoo and just checking until it's the perfect tone that you want. So as you can see, with the hair all over, it looks tone on tone, beautiful.
That's gorgeous. And so now you've created a beautiful base for Meg to work with styling. Meg, could you explain to us a little bit about what happens after the extensions are installed and how you cut them to make it all look clean and perfect?
So once you've installed all the extensions, the blending haircut is it's essential just to create that look that we want for our clients. So there's a few places that I want to address when I'm doing a blending haircut. The first spot on the extensions is I'm looking at the perimeter. So I want to make sure that I'm going to address the length of the hair, okay? Once I get that in, I'm going to work on her layers. So we're going to use the razor, and I'll go through that. We're going to address the layers. So I want to make sure that she has that movement around her face. It's going to give her that natural look and that lift and that like airiness to the hair. So we want to add those layers in. And then the last thing that we're looking at is just to make sure that it fits with her. So we're just going through and customizing it and making sure that there's no jumps in the extension. So I'm looking for any like harsh lines. So at that point, I'm going to go through and I'm going to bevel cut out those lines. I don't want to lose the length at that point, but I want to soften. So I'm looking for any places, like even on the client's hair, sometimes in the back you get that harsh line, and how do you address it? So we want to do that with a bevel cutting, but we also don't want to disrupt her length, right? So first things first, I like to part behind the ear. I'm going to have that go forward. We're going to get down here. You want it at zero elevation. I have my clients tilt their head forward so they're looking down, and we're addressing that perimeter. So with a razor, I'm just going to go through nice and just kind of take that through, just feathering it through there. You can go back through and like clean this up with scissors as well, just to kind of clean it up and just give it a nice look to it. Just kind of go underneath and feather it, get all of those. Then once you get the length exactly how you want it, the perimeter, now we're going to address around her face. So we're going into the layering. So one of the hot tips when it comes to layering is I don't want to disrupt her real length, because when we take those extensions out, I don't want her to have chops in her hair, right? So one of the things is I'm going to take those extensions and I'm going to pull them out, and I'm going to give it a little shake just to make sure any of her natural hair is going to fall out. Then at that point, I'm going to go on the inside. I'm just going to slide it nice and easy. This is a very sharp razor, so you don't want to be aggressive. And then we're going to address the outside. So we're working in little V patterns as we go around the hair. Give it that little shake. Very lightly slide cutting. You don't want to, I mean, she just spent thousands of dollars on this head of extensions, right? So you don't want to cut all the length out either. So you've got to be very careful how you're addressing this, and then also making sure that we're protecting the client's real hair as we go. So it's just a quick like in and out, going through. We're softening it up, creating a little layer, giving that extension a little life to it.
Could you tell us why you like razor cutting the extensions first as opposed to using shears?
Honestly, there's three techniques you can utilize. You can utilize a razor, you can utilize your scissors, and also a blending shear. There's a way to do all of them. This one is definitely a hot tip for a razor, right? But it just depends on how you want to do it. So there's lots of ways to cut bread, right? So just that inside, that outside, just addressing it. I like the razor though. It gives you a lot of control. but you've got to be very light-handed with a razor, you know? So if you don't feel very skilled in what you're doing, like be very careful with it. I love the razor when it comes to addressing, and I'll show you in just a second, those blunt spots, and it's called a bevel haircut. I've tried it with all of the 3 scissors. We have the scissor, the razor, and then that blending shear. And I feel like the razor, when you bevel cut, it's just really clean and really simple to do. So it's that inside, outside, inside, outside.
How does it differ when you're cutting the front pieces of hair as opposed to the back pieces of hair?
So when we get to the front, I'll show you because we're going to want to connect this all together. So once I get to the front, I'm going to take the length from the back and I'm going to check it. So I'm going to have her bend her head to the side like this, and then we're going to go and readdress those little things. Just, you know, we're addressing that perimeter, we're addressing those layers, we're addressing any of the jumps in the extensions. And then also when we get to the front of her face, right here, you always want to know, like, where is she going to part her hair, right? Where does she want that hair to live? So I'm looking at it, how does that look? So you can see how it's very, very straight, and we have that layer right there. I'm going to want to connect the two. So I'm going to take that as my guide, and then going from there, I'm just going to softly razor that through there. So I'm creating that natural look around her face. And then after everything's said and done, we've blended it, we've done all of those things, we've addressed the perimeter, we've addressed layers. Now we're gonna look through to make sure there's any jumps in the hair. So sometimes you're gonna see that harsh jump in there. It's super easy to address that. All you're gonna do, this is called bevel cutting, and this is where a razor comes to be my favorite method or technique for it. So you're gonna take your razor and you're gonna do a bevel cut. So it's just a nice, soft pull underneath. So you can see I'm not pushing that razor all the way through. I don't want it to pop, so I'm keeping that length. But then it's going to take out that weight line and just kind of soften it all down. So it takes out that weight line and then it disappears. So that's how you can blend your layers and also the client's natural hair without, you know, removing too much of her real hair or the length. So that is it. And I am Meg, Styling with Meg.
And I'm DerekCashstyles.
Thanks for watching, everybody.